students. In this video, we are going to discuss how the toppers achieve 100% marks in business studies. This video is meant for CBSE Board Examination 2026 onwards. In this video, we shall use three different files. First, we will use CBSE question paper. Then we will see how the topper has written the answer as per the different question. And then we will compare the answers as given by the CBSE in its marking scheme. Before I go ahead, I would like to introduce myself. Myself is Rajesh Kumar Mahajan. Through this website, that is the lte.com, I would like to introduce myself that I have written the business study books. First one is for objective type question of business studies, that is meant for CBSE, CUT, Olympiad and different competitive examination. And then another I have textbook on business study for class 12 under Goyal by the Prakashan. On this website you can buy both of the books and you can also find the details about my books. Below in this website you can see the different workshop I have been taking for the past several years for the teacher training as well as for the students. And after that you can go through the different testimonials on my OTQ book and also different testimonials on my textbooks. Below this you can also see the CBSE question paper. If you just click on the view paper, then you will be directed to CBSE website. Here you can see annual papers as well as the compartment papers along with the marking schemes. On the right hand side, if you click on the view papers, then you will be directed to CBSE website. Here you can download various CBSE sample papers along with the marking scheme. Then in the last you can see sample chapters from my different books. You can download the sample chapters, you can go through and you can prepare your mind whether you have to buy the books or not. Then in the last you can see the social media handles along with my profile. You can just click on my profile and you can go through about my journey. Here you can see my posts on the Facebook, on the YouTube, Instagram and the blogger. On the blogger you can find different articles I have written on the different difficult topics. If you just type keywords in the search option, you will be directed to a different particular topic you want to go through. And after the article opens, you can just click on the read more. Then the entire article or top will be displayed on the screen. You can go through the entire blog, and then if you feel that it is good for you, good for understanding and improved your current information and knowledge, you can also write the comments. Now let's come back to the main topic. Before I go ahead how the toppers write the answer sheets, first I would like to tell you little information about the paper presentation. When you will get answer sheet, in the answer sheet you should draw a thin margin, like here you can see. Here the purpose of making this thin column is to enable the teachers to give the mark for 1 mark question, as well as for your convenience that when you have any question with different parts, you can write the different parts in this thin margin. And you should also draw a line on the right hand side. Here paper checker can easily write the mark for the different parts, and when the paper checker give the mark for the different answer, then the teacher underlines the marks and then make the total, and the total is written on the left hand side. And from here this total is taken to the main sheet while getting the marks. So this is the basically how you should write your answers. Now let me that which paper we have taken. This is the answer sheet of a topper for the CBSE examination 2024. The code is 65.5.1 and this is meant for Delhi. At the time of preparing the website, The answers toppers answer sheet for the 2025 examination was not available at the CBSE website. Now let's see how the topper has started giving the answer. The topper has started giving the answer for question number 31. That is a 6 mark question. Now before I go ahead, I would like to tell you certain important things. First of all, you should be confident in your subject, and if you're confident that you can write all the answers, then it is preferred that you should write the answer in the serial order. For any particular question, if you don't know the answers, then you can leave more than sufficient space, and when you recall the answer you can come back. This gives the convenience to the paper checker, and as the maximum convenience you give the paper checker, the you are likely to get good marks. But it is also up to you. If you want to change the sale order as per your choice, then it is also accepted. Now let's see what question was asked in question number 31. In question number 31, it is asked to explain the principles of management. Here three characteristics of principal management have been written, and the topper has first of all given the principle this characteristic with the help of this diagram. And when you give your answer with the help of diagram, this gives a positive indicator in the mind of the paper checker that you know the answer. So it's basically a positive beginning, good beginning. Then after that, this topper has given the answer, and this question is for 6 marks, and as per 6 mark, answer should be written in about 200 words. As 3 points have to be written, then we should use around 60 to 70 words per point, so that we can reach the word limit. Here you can see the topper has given the explanation to the point with about 5 to 6 lines. This way the topper has covered around 60 words. So while giving the explanation, the student has also given the example. This way the student has tried to cover the word limit. So all the 3 points with the example, this paper student has given written, and this way each point for that is for 2 marks, he has got 6 out of 6 marks in this question. Now coming to question number 32, let's see what has been asked in question number 32. Here again 3 different points have been asked. There are 2 options. Let's see which option this student has taken. See, student has taken the factors affecting working capital requirement. So 3 points are given to you, and again you have to explain this answer the same way as question number 31 has been explained. Again you can show the answer with the help of diagram, and while giving the explanation you can write the example, and while giving the example you can increase the word limit. So example, like here it has been hidden, so it should be separately shown, so that the paper checker can easily go to the example. And here in second point, the student has not given the example. I have given the example. You can stop this video and you can go to the example. So similarly, third point, I have also mentioned the example. You could go through it. And now come to question number 33. What question number 33 is asking? Here it's basically a case based question. In the case based question, we will have to first go through the question, then we have to see that what exactly we have to do. Here the first question is identify and explain the functional management discussed in the above para, and then explain any 4 points of importance of the function identified in the above case. So let's first of all go through so that we can find out the function. Here I have highlighted the lines for the purpose of saving the time. Duties are assigned to different job positions which led to establishment of clear relationship. You know that these lines are basically related to your chapter organizing. So it means this case study belongs to the function that is organizing. So first you have to write the function identified here is organizing, and then you have to explain it. Then you have to explain 4 points. So as the marks bifurcation is not given, you can make your own calculation that 4 points will be carrying 4 marks, and 2 marks will be meant for half mark for identification of function and 1.5 mark for giving the explanation. So let's see how the topper has given the answer. The topper has again tabulated the answer with the help of diagram, and after that he or she has identified the function, the student has highlighted the function, and then after that here the student has explained in a proper word limit. So here I have mentioned half mark for identification of function, 1.5 for explanation, and I have also mentioned code that is creating a hierarchical structure. So hierarchical structure is also mentioned here in this para. So if you quote some particular words or the line, you can justify your answer. So whether it is asked or not, it is always advised to mention keywords in the key lines so that your answer can easily be accepted. Sometimes answers vary from the marking scheme. Now let's see what answer CBSE has suggested to this question number 31. So here now we are moving to question number 31, 33, sorry, 33. Here you can see function identified is for 1 mark and 1 mark for the explanation. So there can be little variation in marking the answers, and then half mark for identification function and half mark for the explanation. So here the word limit, how you have to decide. Each word limit should be in about 25 to 30 words by default. So this way you can cover the question and control the word limits. Now let's see uh, which question the student has covered. Question number 34. Now see what was the question 34. Hey, again it's a case study. In the case study, I have mentioned and highlighted the key lines so that I could save the time. First question is identify the functional management by quoting the lines from the above para. Explain the steps in the process of the function of the management. So here basically there are three chapters: staffing process, controlling process, and planning process. So it means out of these three functions, there can be any one of the chapter related to this case study. Let's see which function is basically highlighted. Here we can see the hotel had to given possession for the next year, but the construction of the hotel was running 6 months behind schedule. So here you can see that actual work has been compared. That is why the management was able to know whether the work is running behind the schedule or not. So the this line relates to the function controlling. And here now next point, uh, explain any 2 points of importance of the function of management. So in the first you have to identify the function, and then you have to explain the steps of the process of the function management discussed. So in the first point, we have known that this case study is based on the controlling function, and in the controlling function you can note down the steps. So here are basically 5 steps in the process of controlling, and then after going through we have to see which steps of the controlling have been covered. So when you will go through the entire case study, you will find that the step number 3, 4, and 5 have been covered in the case study. So you will have to uh, identify the function, then explain it, and then you have to quote the lines and then explain the steps. In the second part, you are asked to mention or to explain 2 points of importance. So somewhere you can write down the points of importance, any 2 point that is not related to case study. So that is basically independent points of importance. So you have to write 2 points on the importance of controlling. Now how you can divide the marks in your own mind? 2 points of importance mean that is a 1 mark for 1 point, half mark will be for heading, and half mark for the explanation. If you don't remember the heading, you can also explain, but the 1 point should be explained in about 25 to 30 but that is 2 to 3 lines should be used in order to explain 1 point by default. And question 6 marks should be attempted in about 200 words in the total. So in the first part, we have to identify and explain the function. So for the identification, half mark may be kept for the identification and half mark may be kept for the explanation. And then 3 marks may be reserved for identification of the step and then explanation. So this way answer can be written. Now let's see how the student has written the answer. First, the student has given the diagrammatic presentation of the steps, and then each point has been explained by quoting the line. So first the student has quoted the line, and then the student has explained it. So half mark for quoting the line and half mark for explaining. So basically there are three things. One is basically quoting the line, one thing is to write down the function, and one thing is to explain. So basically in the question only two things were asked: identification of the function and quoting the line. Explanation was not asked. But the safe for the safer side, apart from writing the function and quoting the line, student are also explained. So it is advised that you should also explain the point, and you can easily conveniently explain the point without spoiling your time. Now let's see next function the student has attempted. The next function, next question. The next question is from question number 30. And here, let's see what the question number 30 has asked. Question number 30, we go to the reverse order. Question number 30 here, again, a simple question, knowledge-based question. So this question is carrying alternative part. Let's see which part the student has taken. It's basically product price and physical distribution. So basically this belongs to your 4 P's of marketing. So it means alternative part has been attempted. Now this question is for 4 marks. So by default 4 marks question should be attempted in about 120 words. So 120 words mean each point should be explained in about 30 words. So this word limit has to be kept in the mind so that you can score good marks. So here the student has explained 4 P's of marketing, that is a product mix, price mix, physical distribution, and the promotion mix. So after writing the points, the student has explained it. One more advice from my end, that when you write a point, the explanation should be given from the next line. And also you can write the points with the black pen as well, because the red pen is not used by the paper examiner nor the coordinator and the head examiner. So see, in the CBSE evaluation process, black pen is not used anywhere, and it is not basically disallowed by the CBSE examination. So when we check the answer sheet, if you write the points with the black pen or highlight some keywords with the black pen, it is always accepted, and this gives a fair and a good presentation of the answer. Now let's come to the next question. This is question number 29. Let's see what is the question 29. Question 29 is again based on the case study. So for this purpose, we need to read the question first. Identify and explain the type of organization which emerged as entertainment through reading. So now we must have understood when we are talking about the type of organization which emerged means that which must have taken place spontaneously, that is basically not created by any organization. So whenever an organization which is not created by any organization, that and it takes place spontaneously, it's basically informal organization. So we can also go through the case study in order to identify the organization. So here you can find one line, that this line basically the group had no written rules and was unstable in the form and scope and had no fixed lines of communication. So basically these two lines give the indication that informal organization we had to identify. Now as this question for 4 marks, so half mark will be meant for identification, and half mark will be for the explanation. Then you have to give any 3 points of importance for the informal organization. So this way half mark will be for heading for one advantage and half mark for the explanation. But you can also go with the entire explanation, but you should highlight the key point which can work as a heading. I always prefer my student that you should always write the heading, because heading carries half mark always, whether you're given the explanation correct or incorrect. Now let's move to the next question. Here the next question is 28. Now let's see. Question 28 basically differentiating between the product concept and the marketing concept on 4 bases. It means one base will carry 1 mark. We had to I would like to suggest that how you should explain any answer that is based on the differentiation similarities. Any question which is based on the similarity and the differences, it should always be explained in the tabular form. Here you must draw 3 columns. First column, that is thin column, narrow column, only for the for writing the basis. Second column and the third column for differentiating the concepts. So here the basis were given, and on the basis given, the explanation, separate explanation has been written. So here the student has given all the explanation correctly. So for each point the student has given 1 mark. So half mark for the left side, half mark for the right side. This way half into 8, the student will be getting 4 marks. And now coming to the next question. The next question 27. In the question number 27, let's see, it's basically limitation as well as the type of plan. Let's see what question the student has taken. Student taken the limitation of planning. Here in the limitation planning, we have to explain 4 limitation. Again, half mark for heading and half mark for the explanation. This, but the student has given a very good covered the answer with good limits, word limit. So the student has around cover 5 lines for writing 1 point. This is more than sufficient. So around 30 words should be used in explaining 1 point after giving the heading. So this way it impresses the teacher to award full marks for your answer. So this way you can see all 4 points have been explained, and you can also, and it is advisable that if you write the answer in points, it gives good presentation, and teacher can easily go through your answers. So this is basically appreciated. And now coming to the next question, that is question 26. Question number 26 is basically again based on the case study. You can see how I have highlighted the key points so that you can see how the answer have been written. Here you can see, first of all you need to go through the question. The question is, the above case highlights 2 communication barriers. Identify and explain these barriers. So communication barrier, you have to highlight 2 communication barriers. You have not to identify the types of communication barriers. Now let's see what communication barriers have been covered here. First of all, we need to find out the category of the type of communication barrier. We need to go through the entire case study. A BPO center chromosome which deals in the conversion of voice report dictated by the physicians and the other healthcare providers into text format had 40 employees. they ensure that their employees are well versed in one foreign language. So here basic discussion on foreign language. So language is basically related to semantic barrier and one Indian language. The employees are also given the required training to ensure that the reports are processed correctly, and they are the backbone of the patient, the medical history. On frequent complaints about some of the employees, it was observed that they were facing problem in decoding the message. So here decoding the message basically is one of the communication barrier. As they were not very proficient with the language in which the voice message was received. So here basically this line belongs to the communication barrier, symbols with different meanings. As a result, they would make mistake causing different meaning to the message. And not only this, sometimes uh, there were some technical words used in the voice reports. So here you can see first when we discuss about the language, that basically belongs to semantic barrier. And here this green line basically led to faulty translation, and this orange line belongs to your symbol with different meanings. And when technical words were used in the reports, it belongs to technical jargon. So basically, the category is semantic barriers, and two communication barriers were to be identified, but we could find three communication barriers. Now, let's see what answer CBSE has suggested to this particular question. So this question is question number 26. Here, question number 26. The two communication barrier the CBSE has mentioned in its marking scheme, faulty translation and the technical jargon. So these two barriers have already been identified by the student. Here, this question is meant for 4 marks, and now marks bifurcation will be 2 marks for each communication barrier. And here CBSE has given 1 mark for identification and 1 mark for the explanation, but sometime it may be half mark for identification and 1.5 mark for the explanation. So this way CBSE has given the answer. Sometime in certain cases, student might have written the semantic barrier, but in the examination marking scheme, CBSE cautioned that if examinee has identified the communication barrier, semantic barrier, only half mark is to given. It means if the question is not well understood, you could lose your mark. So half mark could be given if the semantic barrier would have been mentioned here. So the question must be read very cautiously. I hope you must have understood so far what we have discussed. Now coming to question number 25. So let's see what is question 25. Again, it is case study. First, we need to go through the case study, identify and explain the consumer right discussed in the above para. And the second is also identify and explain the consumer right violated by Bhola Ram in the above case. In order to save the time, I have already identified the functions. Here the first right exercise is basically people started falling sick after consuming sweets purchase. It's basically right to safety. Villagers should be made aware about the rights and release available to them. It's basically part 2. So the rights availed in the above para is right to safety, and right violated is basically right to consumer education. So again, this question is for 4 marks. 1 mark maybe for maybe reserved for identification function or identification of right, and 1 mark for the explanation. And this way, 2 mark for one right, and two rights will be for 4 marks. Let's see how the student has given the answer. Here the student has given the answer. First, the student has mentioned right to consumer education, which was basically discussed. and the student has highlighted the keywords. This is always suggested so that your answer can be justified, and then the student has given the explanation. And the second part basically violated is right to safety. You can go through the case study in detail, and so that which right belongs to part in which part which right belongs to part B. I have not read the entire case study, but I have mentioned here. And now here you can see again the right has been mentioned by the student, and then the line has been quoted, and then sufficient explanation about 30 words has been covered in the explanation. So this way student has been given 4 marks out of 4 marks. Now next question is number 24. Here question number 24 is basically knowledge based question. Any three protective functions of the Securities and Exchange Board of India. It's very simple. You just have to mention three protective functions. So just simply write three protective function and you could get 3 marks easily. Now next answer the student has attempted is question number 23. Let's see what is the question 23. Again question 3 is based on the case study. Just let's read the question. Identify and explain the method of training given by Caro to its drivers. So here the this question belongs to chapter staffing, and under staffing you have to identify the methods of training. So there are basically two type of methods of training: of the job methods of training and on the job methods of training. Now we have to go through the case study so that we can identify the methods of training. I have highlighted the lines. Here you can see the production manager suggested that these cars were sophisticated and each spare part was very costly. It would be better to provide these cars on the rental service along with the trained drivers. So basically when we use a sophisticated machines, these lines are these lines basically have been taken from the method training, that is vestibule training. Let's see what answers student has given. So student has highlighted the vestibule training because vestibule training is a training which is provided by the companies on the identical machines and the equipment which has to be used in the real life, so that before the actual machines are used to the employees are well trained and well versed with using the techniques, and the heavy losses can be avoided. So method has been explained, and it has been and after that three advantages of the two advantages as asked in the question has have also been mentioned. So this way student has been given 3 marks. Again I advise you should give the heading, and if you can't give the heading then you can highlight some words which can work as your heading, but it is always preferred you should assign the headings. Now coming to the next question, question 22. Of 3 points of importance of staffing, simply writes any 3 points of importance staffing. Here the staffing has been explained by the student, which was not asked in the question, but the student has explained. So that gives a good presentation. And here the student has explained 3 points. Here the word limit has not been followed, but I would suggest that each point should be explained in about 25 to 30 words. First point seems to be covered in desired word limit, but the second and the third points do not seem to be covered in the word in desired word limit. Around 15 words have been used, but the student has the thorough knowledge of the subject. That is why the student has been given the full marks. It's not always the word limit, it's basically the presentation, how subject related word you use and subject related language you use in your presentation, so that matters a lot. Now next question, that's basically question number 21. Let's see question 21. Here question 21 again, it's a case study. Here the question is identify and explain the concept of management discussed in the above para, and explain any one point of importance of the concept. So One point of importance will be for basically for 1 mark. So here it means first part is for 2 marks. So identification will be for 1 mark, explanation will be for 1 mark. So we need to identify the concept of the management. So here I have highlighted the keyword develop an orderly pattern of group efforts among different teams to secure unity of action in order to achieve the common purpose. So these words basically relate to relate to the term coordination. So concept identification is basically the coordination. You need to mention it, and then you have to explain it about 20 or 30 words, and then you have to explain the points of importance. So basically there are 3 points of importance as given in the NCRT. So any one of the point you can mention here because it is liberty to you. So here the student has written 1 point growth in size. So this way this answer has been explained. Let's see what the CBSE has mentioned in question 21. How the CBSE has assigned the mark for this particular question. Let's see in question 21, 1 mark for identification of concept and 1 mark for explanation that I was telling you, and one half mark for identification of heading, and half mark for the explanation to the second part. So there are basically 3 points of importance. So out of 3 point, only 1 point of importance was to be written. Now let's see. Here after this, student has explained the question, 1 mark of question, that is also in the reverse order. Now before that, I would like to suggest that how 1 mark of question should be written. Here you can see this is the right way the student can write 1 mark of question. Just simply first write the question and then write the option and then write the answer. Again, you can just like in question number 2, give the option, this is option B, and then write the answer. And one more suggestion, this is also for the toppers answer sheet. This is basically for 2022 examination, I believe. And after writing each answer, you must leave 2 lines so that marks can easily be given by the paper checker. So this way, this is the best way of presentation of answer. If you have any doubt anywhere in the entire video, you just can comment and I will help you. If you need any kind of resource, if you have any kind of explanation you want further, then you should write the comment. I should reply to your comment. Thank you very much.